What is up, men and women around the world? Welcome back. This is West Coast Roller, Dalton, coming to you tonight from a truck stop. Making a little dinner here tonight. We've got two eggs. See if we can shine down on that. There we go. 2 eggs. We've got some lean rotisserie chicken and some greens for dinner tonight with a little bit of some Bob's blue cheese on the lettuce. That's how we doing it tonight. We're doing it tonight at the truck stop. That's right. Truck stop camping. Hope you all are doing great out there. Been a while since had any communication. Cheers to you all. Get a glass of water. Want to forget some electrolytes, a little Gatorade. Pink Himalayan salt, must have. This is pretty much carnivore. That's what I've been eating for the last about the last 3 weeks. Carnivore, which is basically meat and dairy products, mostly eggs, cheese, and mixing in. I've been mixing in some greens, some good greens with it. I've been eating a lot of red peppers. Then just eating these raw with salt, Himalayan salt. These make a great treat. So, yeah, really radically been shifting up the diet around here, guys. I am in Nevada right now at a truck stop, spending the night. I am heading back to Oregon, making the drive back to Oregon. What do we have tonight? Hey, what's up? What's up, Matt? What's up, Bobby? Buster, howdy. Elena, great to hear from you. Chuck, hello. Chuck, watching from Southern California. Sweet. Turn the volume up a little bit. I think that helps. So, yeah, I just wanted to, thought it'd be a good opportunity here tonight to go live, kind of catch up with you guys and See how you're all doing? Don't mean to eat right in front of you, but this is what doing a live stream is all about, right? Fergal Prius. See if you can find any recreational reptiles. They once were plentiful, but their numbers have decreased. Yeah. I've been on the lookout, but I haven't spotted any. That's called, I think he's referring to lot lizards. Yeah. Truck stops. Lot lizards. It's illegal or legal prostitution. If we're in Nevada, it could potentially be legal prostitution, but I'm in Clark County right now, so technically it would be illegal. How much movement you got when unlocked from the fifth wheel? It really depends on how the front landing gear jacks, they have extensions, and what I found is the lower the distance that you have them extended, the less movement there is inside the coach rocking around. So what I try to do is basically block up the bottom of the landing gear so that the jacks aren't extended out very far, and that seems to make it the most stable in the front. And then in the rear it has rear stabilizing jacks, and then if I'm going to be planted somewhere for a while, I have a tripod that goes on the front of the fifth wheel pin underneath it, and it will take off, it will stabilize the front of the fifth wheel, the pin on the fifth wheel. So that's what I do there. Hey, what's up, Lori? How are you? It's good to hear from you. Of course I recognize your name. Come on, what do you think, I was born yesterday? How are you guys doing? Are you guys still in Pahrump? Oh, you are? Okay. I think I'll be cruising by tomorrow. I'm just south of Las Vegas. I'm south of Las Vegas right now at a truck stop. So, yeah, maybe I wasn't planning on driving by Pahrump, but maybe I'll go that way tomorrow. Again, sorry, I don't mean to eat in front of you guys, but that's what I decided to do. So, Lori, we're doing well. It would be great to see you. Okay. Yeah, I'll think about that. I mean, it's on my way. Past that way. It's on my way. I'm heading north. So, um, yeah, I'll uh, I'll send you guys a text if I head that way. Who else did I miss? I think I missed some people's comments. We got Chuck. For instance, I locked the wheels, rear stabilizers, then tripod. Yeah. Um, with the wheels that are on this fifth wheel, the axles are so close together that I can't fit one of those like wheel stabilizers in there. I know what you're talking about, but I do chalk the wheels before I disconnect it, you know, for safety, of course. Alex Wright, I'm thinking about going full time truck camper setup in a few years. What's your thoughts on buying a new Ram 2500 gasser versus an older model? I'm mainly thinking for reliability and peace of mind. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to vehicles, I kind of think it's really like what's in your budget. Definitely. I mean, there's a vehicle out there for everybody's budget, I believe. So yeah, it just depends on your budget. And then as far as a new versus old, I mean, I would say it's always a good idea to buy the newest vehicle that you can afford. Um, in that, that's the theory, I should say. I think that's a good theory. But in terms of if you're, you know, purchasing, like you're talking about a gas engine, so yeah, gas versus an older model. I would say on a gas, if you're going to go with a gas engine, I think that you would be fine going with a newer model. I know, but if you're going to go the diesel route, then the conversation definitely changes, because all the newer diesel engines are not all created equal. So some are better than others, or worse than others. But as far as the gas engine goes, yeah, you're going to be fine if you go new versus old. But yeah, purchasing vehicles and stuff, there's a lot to it. But um, I wouldn't be afraid to purchase an older vehicle. I don't know how mechanically inclined you are. There's so many different ways you can go about it. I wouldn't be. Um, I would still look at older models because they're definitely like gas engines. Personally, I'm a fan of the Vortec, the GM Vortec engines. I think you can't go wrong with those. So you would be a safe bet purchasing something that was like 10 years old. I think with a good solid Vortec engine. So, anyways, so that's kind of my thoughts on that. I don't know if that helps, or if that kind of gives you any insight on it or not. But I'm sure some people could comment, get in the comments. RV bandwagon, what's up, brother? I turn on YouTube and look who's here. Are you in Oregon? No, I'm not in Oregon yet, but I am heading up there. The West Coast roller is moving on. Always rolling down the highway somewhere. Yeah, changed gears a little bit, changed plans. I've well, as of this time, I got a job lead in Portland, driving truck as a truck driver. So it's a seasonal job. Could potentially move into some other things, but yeah, I'm super stoked. So it's going to be a local home every night gig. I won't be out over the road and sleeping in truck stops of all places. Not if there's anything wrong with that, but no, I'll be home in my own bed every night. So yeah, totally stoked, and like really looking forward to it. But no, I'm in Nevada right now. Lori, we're doing good. We'll be great to see you. Tommy is in bed. He's in bed, huh? All right, good for him, man. Getting some early, hitting it early, hitting it early. Alex, yes, thank you. Right on. What what truck camper are you looking at? Oh, there you go. I'm looking putting a Northern Light 9'6" on the truck. I'm obsessed with those campers. I've pretty much seen all of your videos when you had your 10.2. Awesome. Have you actually went? Have you looked at them and test drove any of them? He ate a big dinner, then headed to bed. Good for him. Alex, been I've been going to the dealer and spending some time hanging out inside to make sure it feels right. That's good, man. That's um that's the absolute best thing to do. And an even like better step to do, it's probably really hard to do, but would actually be to like spend the night in the camper, like really use the camper for like a day. I mean, if you could rent it for like, I mean, I know that's probably not possible, but that would be really good because that will really tell you if you like it and it's going to work for you. RVs tend to be a lot like vehicles, cars, where like, well, I mean, a car you can go out and test drive it, but there's things that kind of come up that you may not like over time, and it's real easy to get caught up in the impulsive buying. When you're buying anything, cars, RVs, but yeah, you definitely you really should really spend some time looking at them and trying everything out and laying down in the bed, um, going into the wet bath and using it, and just kind of identifying some of the things that you like and you don't like about it. My buddy lives full time in his Lance 825, so a Northern Light 9'6" seems like a good place to compare to that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, really, the best piece of advice that I can give you is just go out and look at look at a lot of different truck campers, even ones that you're not even going to consider, even ones with slide outs. Just go and look at them and feel them and use them, and just kind of pick them apart a bit and find out, see what you like and what you don't like, and make notes of everything and write down those particular things, because every one of them has strengths and weaknesses, and because of the varying floor plans with the different length floor plans, the 8-foot floor plans versus the 9'6" versus the 10-foot versus the 11-foot. And then the other decision that you also have to make is what kind of you're talking about buying a truck. And if you're going to want to go a truck camper route, I mean, I would seriously encourage you to go with a dually versus a single rear wheel, just for that extra payload and that stability when you're going to be transporting that down the highway. So it's going to definitely outperform, a dually is going to outperform all other trucks, and I think you would be the most happy with that. But then again, I don't know where you want to go. If you want to go out into the wilderness on narrow backcountry roads, then a single rear wheel may be the better choice. But for stability, a dually is the way to go with a truck camper. if you stop by tomorrow, I'm sure Tommy would love to cook you something. Ah, all right. Yeah, he loves to cook. He loves to cook for friends. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. That would be fun. So I'll have to see what my plans are. What my plans are tomorrow. So for sure. Yeah, I would. Yeah, when it comes to a comes to trucks. Yeah, I mean the the truck campers are heavy. I mean, even the 9'6" that you're looking at buying, you have to account for. I think a good number is about 1,000 pounds of extra weight you're going to put inside the camper. Okay, so usually a good number to tack on to the dry weight is about 1,000 pounds, and even the wet weight figures that the dealers give you, those can be off. But I know on my Northern Light, mine weighed over, a little bit over 4,000 pounds when I put it on the scale. So um, always go weigh on the heavier side, and that's where the dually, you shouldn't be limited with payload capacity. So being overweight, you won't be overweight with the dually. And if you want to tow a trailer behind, that would be um, a great truck to do that as well. Lori, have you been getting? Were you able to get some of your medical things taken care of? Tommy definitely appreciated all the advice about the dually you gave him when he had the truck camper. You gave great advice. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I just try to give try to pass on information that I've learned through my own experience, um, through trial and error, not through like theory. I don't like theory. I like practical, real world advice. The things that you learn in the real world, through actually using things and doing things. But yeah, so I try to pass along, yeah, what I know, and not I'm not saying that I'm right about everything. Nope, not saying that at all. But yeah, there's definitely we can all help each other. I think with um, sharing, sharing information and about if we were to do it all over again, what would we do differently, right? That's one of my favorite questions that I like to ask people is knowing what you now know, if you were to do it all over again, what would you do differently? Some people say, I wouldn't do anything differently. And that's kind of cool too. Alex says, Steely Bio Dooner, yo, what's up, West Coast Roller? What's going on, man? How are you? We got yes. After much frustration dealing with insurance, everything is done. Oh, awesome! That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Yeah, that can be a real nightmare working with those agencies to get a lot of that paperwork handled and everything. Alex Wright, I know in some of your past videos you talked about how interior height was an issue for you. Was that one of the reasons that you stepped into the fifth wheel? Yes, it was definitely. I mean, probably one of the number one reasons. Um, and I also later discovered that Lance built, excuse me, from like 2003, 2004, 2005, Lance 915 and 920, those truck campers inside were 6'10", 6'10" interior ceiling height. I later learned that. If I would have known that, I don't know if I would have bought a Northern Light. But at the time and the information I had, the Northern Light had one of the tallest interior ceiling heights at 6'8". So I decided to go that direction. But knowing what I know now, Lance has the tallest. They build the tallest inside camper without actually getting something custom built. Through the research that I've done, there is a company in Oregon, Mount Angel, Oregon, called Pastime Truck Campers, and those guys they will build you. They can build you a custom truck camper. I knew of a guy that had one built. Really, he was a tall, and he had one built. So they will custom build you one, and I think they're Amish. So they incorporate maybe some Amish. I think, I don't know. I might be wrong in that, but they maybe, I don't know. They're Amish or German or something. They're a family that owns it, and everything they do is all custom built. But I would check those guys out. Pastime Campers. Everything they built, it's built to order. They don't like have an inventory or anything, and you have to go directly through a dealership to place an order. You can't go to the factory direct and order one. That's what I know. But yeah, I wanted to go there, and I might go there. I'd like to get a tour, do like a factory tour. I think that would be great content to have. But that's another company that they're out there, and I don't see a lot of people talking about them. But anyways, yeah, the interior height, yeah, that was definitely one of the reasons that it was for me. It ended up being just too cramped for me. Um, above anything else, and then also with the fifth wheel, I have a shower, like a shower I can actually use, a dry bath shower, and I tell you what, guys, when you're out there boondocking for a couple weeks and having a nice shower that you can jump into and that's worth a lot. So to me, it is anyways. Of course, taking a shower, there's many different methods that you can do that while you're out boondocking. So, and it's all about educating yourself. But there's multiple different ways to do everything. But yes, the shower is great, and the 80 gallons of freshwater capacity is also a huge bonus with this length of fifth wheel. This is a 32-foot fifth wheel. Did the truck camper eventually feel too claustrophobic? Well, yeah, for me it felt claustrophobic in the front, in the head of the very front of the mattress. Laying down, and for me it was too cramped, up front especially. That's one of the reasons why I like this fifth wheel, is I've actually have a bed in the front that I can walk around and I can make, and so when you step up to the fifth wheel, you get a lot more comfort. But there's a price to pay for that. So price to pay in other ways. But it was cramped for me in the front, and I had to kind of sleep at an angle. I mean, it only had a queen size mattress, which is the same size mattress I have here in the fifth wheel. But in the very front, it was just cramped. I mean, I had to kind of, when I would get up in the mornings, and yeah. So, but a lot of the truck campers are like that. But they're all built a little bit different. So the layouts are a little bit differently. That's why you got to really go and look at all. You got to look at a lot of them. That's what I recommend. And there's quite a few to look at, especially if you're not somebody as tall as I am. When you're like say under 6'2", lots of choices available with truck campers. But when you're tall, you know, it's tough. It's really tough. And in the market today, they're not building them that tall. I don't even think they're building them 6'10". Not like they were doing back in the mid 2000s. So FC Mama, hi there. Hey, what's up? What's up there? How are you? Thanks for chiming in here, checking out the stream. Doing her good. Steeler Bro, Bio doing her good. Gucci, we got Lori. Well, we've had a truck camper, now a fifth wheel, and currently looking to buy a Class A. Yep, you're right. Sir, you're right. We all have to figure out what works for us when buying and living in an RV. Yes, yeah, that is for sure. And I really have not met many people out here in my 3 whatever years doing this that have really gotten the first rig right the first time. Most people, it takes like a couple times to really find the right rig because, we have to use these vehicles to determine what best fits our needs, wants, likes, and it's not easy. And then, of course, the vision that we have going into it, sometimes ends up not really being a good match for, what eventually what we want to do and how comfortable it is or not. Um, Sometimes I still toy with the idea of going something like less, like I guess less, but maybe less weight. But it's tough at this point to really go that direction because of the amount of comfort that I have, and comfort is definitely a big deal, and there is a price to pay for that comfort, but it's one of those things that when you're living in these vehicles, not actually going out and just using them for a weekend, getaway or whatever, it's different. You really want to be happy with what you have. But anyways, I'm rambling on. But yeah, Lori, I totally get what you're saying, and it's totally good, but it's frustrating, and it can be very costly. I mean, I know when I sold my Northern Light, I took a loss, a little loss, but buying and selling these RVs and stuff, you know, I really wouldn't recommend it a lot. I mean, unless you're buying them for, a great deal, flipping them and what have you. And, there's people that do that too. But, and the good part is buying these RVs, you can definitely buy them for a good deal. I bought my truck camper for a good deal. So they're definitely out there, you know. You just got to be smart and negotiate smart, and make offers, and there's always another one for sale, in your neighborhood somewhere. You just got to be a little patient, and don't settle. Get what you want. I think that's important. Alex, yeah, I've seen pastime campers at the dealer. I'm from Portland. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, you've seen them, and yeah, I looked at those before I bought the Northern Light, and I was impressed with the quality and the value that they offered. I thought they were a good value for the price. I almost bought one. Um, but yeah, they will custom build you one. So I would definitely look at those guys. And like I said, I thought that their quality was pretty good. Their construction, and you could probably spec, if you wanted a specific type of stove or a specific type of refrigerator, they probably would, work with you on that. Yes, I'm 5'11", so pretty much everything feels comfortable for me. That's why I'm loving the 9'6". Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, you're at a perfect height for a truck camper. Um, yeah, for sure, dude. That's good. Somebody riding by on a little dirt bike. Rap, 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 rap. Doing great. Glad to see you. Oh, that's good. I'm good. Glad to see you. Glad to see you on here. It seems you got the right truck the first time at least. Yes. Yeah, that ended up working out really, really well for me. I've owned that truck. I've owned my truck since 2011. And, part of my buying decision with that truck was I wanted to own a proven, reliable diesel engine truck. And I didn't really give a crap about the year of it. I just wanted what was going to be like, proven and reliable. That ended up being a mechanical, the mechanical 12 valve diesel. And I ended up buying the truck from the original owner. It had 100,000 miles on it when I bought it. So it had pretty low miles for diesel. And then after I bought it, I found out that the overdrive had gone out. I had the automatic transmission serviced, and I found out that there was some metal in the pan, and so was discovered. So I ended up I don't know. I think I paid about four grand to have the transmission professionally gone through by a transmission specialist. I had a guy do it that like. That's all he does is transmissions. And I had him gut the transmission, all the bearings. I replaced everything, the transmission lines. And to this day, it's been trouble-free. I've put over 60,000 miles on it and haven't had any troubles with it at all. Knock on wood. And I've also serviced the transmission every 2 years, changed the fluids. I was told that's like the most important thing to do with an automatic transmission is to service it on the intervals and get it done. So I do mine about every like 24,000 miles or every 2 years is when I'll service mine, and it costs me about $200 to do, but when I have a shop do it, but totally worth it. But yeah, that truck It's a great truck. I have absolutely no reason to get rid of it. I mean, I always ask myself the question, if I had an unlimited budget, what would I get? And if I had an unlimited budget, I probably would buy an F5 or F450. An F450 with the diesel is probably what I would buy if I had an unlimited budget. F450, F550, get high payload capacity, tall wheels, tires. But I would get one of those, and probably a toy hauler with like a 10-foot garage if I had a unlimited budget. When I say unlimited budget, just meaning if I had if I could buy anything, right? Not that you need an unlimited budget to buy one of those trucks, but that's probably what I would go with. But for practicality and just my budget, yeah, it's definitely it's a good truck. It works well for me, and it's been extremely reliable at this point as far as the engine goes. And just little small things come up. I have an upper ball joint right now that it's got a little play. I need to replace it. So when you own an old, the bad part about when you own an old truck like I have is you're going to have to go through some things. Bearings are going to need to be replaced. Just the front end is going to be replaced. I mean, if I was smart, I would actually go through and replace all of the components on the front end, all of the tie rods and everything. And I might do that. It's not going to cost that much money to do, but it would be like, and then just get it, replace all the steering components and then have it front end aligned, and I'd be good, as far as all that stuff goes. The engine I'm not concerned about. I just got to stay up on the maintenance with it. Changing the filters, fuel filter, oil filter. You planning to get your Banshee ride it soon? The Banshee, yeah. Yeah, it's up there in storage. They just jacked my rent on the storage again. They've jacked my rate 3 times. It's $95 right now for a 10 by 10 storage locker in Florence, Oregon. So, anyways, but yeah, I'm gonna get the Banshee out. Yeah, I'm not sure, man. It's kind of a lower on the priority list right now. Priority list right now is to get back to work. So, but yeah, it's definitely there, and I gotta just put gas in it, kick it over, and ride. So that's good. But yeah, I've definitely been thinking about the Banshee, being down here in Arizona. It's been hard watching everybody out riding and having fun, and it'd be fun to have it down here some winter. I've had thoughts of actually buying a. I have friends who own places in down by Yuma that I could. They actually have storage. I could store things there, like pay them to store. But I've thought about buying a Banshee down here, and just storing it down here and using it down here in the winter months. And then I could always take like parts from my this Banshee and then put it on that one to use while I'm down there. I've kind of thought about maybe doing that, because this whole business of transporting these vehicles, around, it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. I mean, it's a pain in the ass because in Oregon and Washington, you can't double tow. But everywhere else you can double tow, right, with a fifth wheel. Double tow meaning you can pull a bumper pull trailer off the back of the fifth wheel. You can do that legally in Arizona, California, Nevada, Idaho, Utah, pretty much everywhere else except Oregon and Washington, because they're just pain in the asses when it comes to rules and regulations. So they're trying to, police state, keep everybody safe, right? So, anyways, man, I went really off on that one. What we got here, Alex? So one of your biggest factors for me is the build quality of the Northern Lights. Knowing what you know now and living in your Northern Light and fifth wheel up to this point, do you think two-piece molded? Yeah. Now I think I mentioned before that I actually had a leak on that two-piece mold. I had a leak. Yes, I did. That's what I just said. I said a leak. In the front of the cap, I had a leak, and that was due to those two-piece constructions. You still have to put caulking on those joints above and below, and if you don't, water can seep in, and the water had gotten in on one of the radiuses on the very front of the cap. So you still have to seal and caulk all of those things, and that was the one thing that I did learn about owning a high-end truck camper, is that they're not any different than all of these other RVs that you see out there, in that they all need maintenance and they all need caulking, and it doesn't matter if it's new, if it's old. Unless you're buying, well, even these these fancy high-end RVs. I have a friend of mine who's got a really nice Sonova, about $150,000 Sonova, and he claims that it doesn't really require any, caulking or what have you. But unless you're getting into those type of price ranges or whatever, and some of these high-end motorhomes, like they all require a lot of maintenance. Not like, when I say a lot, I just mean that they're not bulletproof. And the Northern Light wasn't bulletproof. I had a couple of issues that I found with it, mostly due to just, not having some things like sealed up, like a caulking. So any type of an RV that you own, you've really got to go around that thing with a pick and just look at everything and make sure everything is sealed up, especially if you're in Oregon or Washington or any of the wet, damp climates where it rains all the time. Water gets in everywhere, and not even it's the water is an issue, but it's the moisture. And one little leak, like around your refrigerator or any type of areas where like your solar wiring is getting routed through your refrigerator vents and stuff, you got to check all that stuff out, because one little area in there will allow moisture to get in and it will ruin things. And I had a couple of those problems on the Northern Light. And so, just the worst thing you can do is go into this thinking that just because I'm buying this really fancy, and it is a good, well-built rig, okay? But don't go into it thinking that like I'm never going to have any problems and like I'm good. I'm worry free, because you're not. You're setting yourself up for that's just bad information. And these companies, they do a really good job selling you on the idea that you know this is like it's going to make all your problems go away, and but just don't be misled on that. All of these vehicles, they require a lot of maintenance. I mean, when I say a lot, I just mean that there's always something that's wearing out. That's You've got to constantly be looking at things, and you have to have an attention to detail with some of this stuff. So I think that's kind of a long-winded answer, but that's like really the best answer I can give you, because just from my own experience and owning that particular rig. And you might have one that's really really good, and you might have one that has some issues. But if you do buy a brand new one, I would really really make sure that you've got a really good warranty with it, and maybe even negotiate the warranty even more with the dealer or what have you, just to make sure that they're going to stand behind that product. And I know that Northern Light has a 6-year structural warranty. Make sure you read that, though, because structural doesn't necessarily mean that if I get a leak or something like that, that may not be covered in the structural warranty. So just make sure that if you're buying a new one, okay, like when I bought my Northern Light, I was actually the second owner, so I didn't, he took a depreciation hit when I bought it. But so those are just some of the things that you need to think through. If you're buying a new one, make sure they're going to stand behind that product, bumper to bumper, for X amount of time, because I'm willing to bet in that X amount of time you're going to find some problems. As far as the two-piece, the fiberglass, one of the one okay, there's two kind of things I guess I'll say about the fiberglass. This is just my opinions, okay, so take them for what they're worth. They're just my opinions. Like the fiberglass, you're going to want to wax it, and so it was one of the things I guess I kind of disliked. Well, I mean, all of these RVs, you can wax them, but like the roof, you got to get up there and wax the roof, and it's kind of a little bit of a chore to do that. On some of these other type of rigs, there isn't that much of that to do. Another thing that I didn't, the fifth wheel I have now, it has gutters on it. Okay, gutters. And a lot of the other different truck campers have gutters on them as well. The Northern Lights, they don't have gutters on them. So like basically when you don't have gutters, the water's just sheeting, down the sides, like when it's raining. And like on my fifth wheel, when it's raining, I don't have any water sheeting down the sides. And that water sheeting down the sides is water that could potentially, find a pinhole leak somewhere and, go somewhere else, right? So those gutters really do help. And the Northern Lights don't have them on there. At least maybe they're putting them in, maybe they're designing them with them now. But that's one feature in owning an RV that has gutters. Like, to me, that's a huge thumbs up. And so it just, I think it a little bit less, just kind of less maintenance to do. So that was kind of one dislike I think I had about that fiberglass design. The good part about the Northern Light design is that there's no like water that's, there's no standing water on the roof because of the way that the roof is, the way that it's designed. It's designed so the water, there's no pooling water that sits up on top of the roof. So that's a good thing in terms of leaks and stuff. But like when you go to a fifth wheel is pretty much the same thing. Excuse me, because all fifth wheels, the roof design is built with a pitch. They're not flat roofs. Fifth wheels aren't flat roofs. So bumper poles tend to be flat roofs, and that's where you get a lot of your water leaking problems is on flat roofs. So that's one good thing with the Northern Light is you don't have any of those kind of issues. The design of the Northern Light is still superior to normal built truck campers. I wouldn't say, honestly, I wouldn't say it's superior. It's basically just a design, okay? And I wouldn't probably take it any further than that. I wouldn't, they do a great job of marketing it, and that it is the superior or whatever. And honestly, it's just a lot of marketing hype, and I'm not saying that it's a bad product, but I'm just telling you, just don't believe everything that you hear. And there's a lot of different makes and models, and I'm like I said, I'm just telling you this from my 3+ years of experience, living in RVs, um, owning a Northern Light, for example, and I'm not dissing the Northern Light at all, but I'm just like trying to, I think, break down some myths, I think, with some of this information that, you hear out there in the world, from different people. So, but I wouldn't say that it's a superior design. Um, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that after owning one, But I'm not a brand loyal person. I'm kind of more like, if it's a good product, it's a good product. If it's a good design, it's a good design. Like, who gives a shit, who makes it? I mean, if it works really good, like, and it's proven, like, that's great. So, I don't know. That's kind of my attitude with brands and things like that, But it's my opinions. Mr. Minimalist, hey Dalton, how's it going? Just logged on. Where are you at? I'm sitting at a truck stop here in Nevada, south of Las Vegas right now. Getting swarmed by motorcycle riders. Guys riding dirt bikes here at night. Um, you're asking me how many miles are on my truck now? I got 164,000 miles on it right now. I was just shopping storage units. There's a similar price in San Diego. Yeah, it seems like everything on the West Coast, the price of everything on the West Coast is just like, it's just going up. So, um, yep. So that's the best part about living in the USA. If you don't, you can go move somewhere else where it's more to your tastes, or however much money you want to spend or whatever, right? On that kind of stuff. Frugal Prius RV, 2018, divorce, rape, 25,000 to restart my life at 51. A relative needed money and had a neglected property, 2.3. A relative needed money and had a neglected property, 12.3, including lawyers' fees. No kitchen or bathroom. Tropical here most of the year. Cook outside. Where are you? Where do you live? Where do you live? Frugal Prius RV. Fatty, what's happening? West Coast Roller. What's happening, man? I don't know who you are. I'm doing good here. Just night camping here at a truck stop tonight. Just for the night. Yep. In Nevada, something like that. Nevada. Everything in life needs tending. Yeah, especially when you got stuff, right? Frugal, we got a 31-foot fifth wheel that I sleep in. I could be told to remove it in 3 days. Got a well insulated building where I can live, where it cost average of $106 a month. Oh, that's great. It's cheap. This is all utilities and taxes. Nice. Yeah, you are probably must be in one of the southern states. Maybe are you in Mississippi or Arkansas? Oh, Louisiana. Okay, Louisiana. Yeah. I've this winter I have been researching and studying, other places in the United States that with a low cost of living that's, affordable. Just like I've been really looking at it. I've been looking at Arkansas. I've got some RVing friends that bought RV lots in Arkansas legally that they live in and on for a very reasonable price. I've got some other friends from Oregon that I used to live with in the RV park in Florence, and they moved to Arkansas around the Fayetteville area, and they bought a house on property, like I don't know, an acre of property for like $86,000 or something like that. I mean, in a pretty nice, I thought, area of Arkansas. you know. And so, yeah, there's definitely, I think areas to live that are more cost effective and affordable. If you're wanting to be more free, I think that's probably the best word to use. You're wanting to just be more free. There's definitely some better places, and I know, yeah, the cost of living on the West Coast, it's getting absolutely ridiculous. Just the cost of housing, and I mean, it's just totally, for the average person, it's just, it's just getting really ridiculous. It's financial servitude, and so, yeah, if you want to escape that, the southern states are really seeming to be a lot more, appealing in that regard. And also, if you want to live in your RV, um, there's definitely a lot of places that you can do that legally. My understanding, without getting a warrant or whatever to have your be evicted from your land or whatever. And you don't own your land; you basically rent it from the government. So. Lori, absolutely agree. Maintenance is very important. After all, our homes take a beating every time we hit the road, much like an earthquake or tornado. Yeah, yeah, definitely for sure. Yeah, there's always little things that have to be tended to. Tommy loved the Arctic Fox. It seemed like a good. It seemed like a good truck camper too. Yep, Northwood. Yeah, those are built by Northwood. Those are built up there in Oregon, LeGrand, Oregon. Yep. Fergal RV. If I travel, I take out the passenger seat in the crib frame and mattress. Longest I've lived that way was 2 weeks. Huh. Yeah. No snow and ice. I can't sleep in the fifth wheel. No snow and ice. Truth Hunter. Hey, what's happening, man? Come down to Brownsville, Texas. Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear it's cheap down there. That's what I learned from you and watching your videos. Um, I think that's how I originally found your first video that I watched. I think the first video that I watched of yours was you were commenting about the exodus of Californians moving to Texas or other places. But yeah, yeah, definitely Texas. There are a wide range of I think affordable areas to live in Texas. And yeah, I was looking at Texas. Um, Never actually really been to Texas. Like traveled around or kind of experimented with the culture or just. But I know there's a wide variety of changes or a wide variety of areas that you can like you can live and earn a good living. Like can't say that for everywhere. Not is there affordable housing. I mean I think that's probably the greatest I think draw to Texas is that you can earn a great living there and have an affordable place to live. And I think isn't that like the American dream? To be able to. I mean, isn't that why we live in our RVs? Because it's like, well, we all have our reasons, but I would say that affordability of housing is in the top five for probably all of us. But yeah, I think that's just the American dream, to live, um, somewhere where it's affordable and also earn a good living, where you're not, taxed to death. Um, yeah, not taxed to death, but that's getting to be a lost cause, I think. But I'm not being negative. I'm just like, you can't focus on the things that you really can't control. You've just got to like make direct decisions with what you're going to do with your life, and not try to change the world, not try to change everybody. Just do what's going to make best. Do what you need to do to be free, to live your life the way you want to live. I'm going to watch some Truth Hunter videos. Yeah, go check out Truth Hunter videos. Check out these avocados I bought today. 3-pack of avocados I bought today. And sweet potatoes. Bagged sweet potatoes. Non-GMO, gluten-free. I've been eating a lot more of these sweet potatoes. Just been wrapping them up and putting them on the barbecue. He's been making some really good meals. Southern California is so expensive, but it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful in Southern California. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's so beautiful in Southern California. You know, it's like it's there's so many places in California that are, well, everywhere in California, not everywhere, but California is a beautiful state. I mean, like, it's amazing. You know, Northern California always blows my mind when I travel around or go camping. You know, just the vastness of beauty and different geography, and it's amazing. The rivers, you know, just phenomenal country. But it's just it's priced out. Everybody's moving. Everybody's leaving California. A lot of people leaving California. The It's going to be interesting to see kind of how it all plays out. I guess the state of California over in the future here. Interesting to see how it all plays out. I can live here for less, but I run the AC unit and the heater. With homestead exemption, my taxes were only $54, $53. Wow. Yeah, that's cheap, man. That's cheap. That's sounds like freedom to me. A lot of freedom. But, you know, a little bit of a price. You got to deal with the weather and the bugs and the humidity, and um, but like, hey, if you're free, maybe that's the price it's worth willing to pay. So, or you're not in. I should say, when I say you're free, you're not enslaved financially. Then maybe that's a good price you're willing to pay for that. Is kind of my thoughts on it. Um, if that's if that's something that's important to you. But maybe I kind of think the goal is to really to live, live where you want to live. And just, if where you want to live is expensive, but it's really where you want to live, just pay whatever price necessary, to live there. And I know that's what a lot of people do in California. They really like California, and despite the expenses, and despite the politics, and despite the corruption, on and on it goes, right? They still continue to pay the price to live there. But I really think you should be happy where you live, and I know, it's important to be happy it's important to be happy where you live. But if um, you're being squeezed, then you may become unhappy. So then you're going to move, right? I don't know. That's my theory with it. Yes, I'm still going to get into trucking. Yep, I am going to be working with a seasonal trucking job in Portland. Just be as happy as you can be. I agree. That's You have nothing to prove to anybody. You have um, you just have to be happy and figure out the shortest. Well, I don't know. I'm just talking. Talk is cheap. Figure out if happiness is here, figure out the shortest distance to go from where you are right now to here. Okay? I mean, I think that, and I think more importantly, pay whatever price necessary to get here. And it, I mean, to be, yeah, happiness. It's, happiness is the whole, is the whole game. And it eludes most people. Most people are not. They're just caught in a vortex and think that they're a prisoner or whatever, but they're really just a prisoner in their own mind. Supply and demand dictates price. West Coast has so many economic refugees that storage unit prices are going up. Yeah, everybody's losing their houses or whatever, going into apartments, and yeah, it's renting storage, renting storage lockers. But yeah, supply and demand dictate the price. Yes, that is how it works. Supply and demand. NorCal is country. Yeah, I agree. It really is phenomenal. Um, really, just mind blowing. Really, I mean, when you really get out there in the wilderness and the uh, just the rivers and the uh, what do you call just when you're driving through those canyons, the canyons that they have like in Northern California, just unbelievable. Like you could like go on a trek and just get lost out there, and you could probably live out there somewhere. I bet people do. But it's crazy, man. I mean, it's just the vastness of. I remember I'll never forget the trip that I took when I went into the Six Rivers National Forest, and I went up there in the Bigfoot Highway, up there in the Hoopa Indian Reservation, and that was phenomenal. It was crazy. Like I didn't even know I was like in America still. I thought I was in some other country, like maybe South America or something. But yeah, it's crazy when you get out there. West Coast is superior to the East Coast. Yeah, that's what my mom always says. My mom and dad are from New York, and my mom always says the West is the best, is what she says. If you were to start all over again in a truck camper, would you go with a Northern Light or something else? I would go with something else. Yeah, I would. I would go probably. I would either. I either have something like custom built, or I would go with like a Lance. If I had a heavy enough truck, like an F450, I would go with a side entry Lance, a side entry. So that way, when I'm towing a trailer, it'll be just like having a motorhome type combination. So you won't have to deal with the hitch. I would go that route, except that's you're stepping up to a heavy truck camper at that point. But I would need like an F450 truck to do that. Um, if I had my truck, I would probably go with like a Lance 915 or a 920. A 920 has a sofa in it, like dinette, a sofa dinette, and the 915 has kind of a U-shaped dinette. Um, West Coast is bad except for the affordability. Yeah, yeah, except for the affordability. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. It's getting more costly, and that's probably because of the supply and demand. It's becoming more popular. I think that's what's happened on the Oregon coast. Prices on the Oregon coast have gone up substantially, just RV parks and so forth, and supply demand. Like the demand is there, and it's driving the prices. So yeah, it's what it is. They're not building anymore. That's why down here in the Southwest, well, like Phoenix, for example, it's like there's just so much area to build, right? So, like, they build. That's what they do. They build more houses, and so that keeps the supply and the demand, at a ratio that is, I mean, affordable. Okay, I'll just say, affordable for a lot of folks, So, and that kind of, it helps with the whole, that whole supply demand relationship. But in the West Coast, Oregon, Washington, it's like a lot of these places, in my opinion, they're not building. Because of regulations and the government regulations, and it's just like, they're not really doing anything to, mediate the issue, right? I mean, they could build more RV parks. They could do tiny home communities. I mean, they could be doing something, right? But they're doing nothing. So, I mean, that just kind of seems to be somewhat of the theme, on some of the West Coast areas. That's just my opinion, okay? Not backed by any research, but, well, just what I observe, I guess, and what I hear, and what I observe. Keep Portland weird. Yeah, that's right. Keep Portland weird. That's where I'm going. Going to Portland country. So, yep. Got to get my weird hat out. Yeah, got to get my weird hat out. I got to find a good gym. A good ghetto gym to work out in. That's like, I don't know, maybe a CrossFit or something when I'm up there. I got to find a good gym to do some lifting and some weights. That would be fun. Do some biking, some bicycling. I think when I'm up there, I plan to do some biking. Like that's how you get around in Portland. You get around on bikes, and electric bikes. So yeah, should be a good experience. Good to see you again, West Coast. Glad to see you got the job trucking. Yeah, still putting some things together. I've got to go up and do an interview and get the deal sealed. But I wouldn't be driving up there if I felt there was some uncertainty with it. So Six Rivers is awesome. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's that place is wicked cool. Like, just a cool place to be. Just like it's crazy up there. It's really vast, rugged wilderness, and like I would love to do some hiking up there. Probably want to take some training with bear training. I think bear defense training. Not Bigfoot defense training, but there might be some people up there that are looking for Bigfoot that I might need to defend myself from. Yep, for the Bigfoot people that believe in Bigfoot, I don't know. I just haven't seen any remains of Bigfoot, so I guess I don't. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm like, it's not possible, but I just haven't seen any like evidence that's compelling enough to make me really believe that it's true. That believe that Bigfoot's true. Remains like actual bones or something like they haven't. I've never seen any. I've never seen any bones from Bigfoot. But I don't know. And at first I think I believed in Bigfoot, and then like somebody said that, and I thought, like that's a good point. I mean, these creatures have to pass on at some point. I mean, like Mac Johnson, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? You going back to Oregon? Yeah, going back to Oregon. heading that direction right now. Ariana, hey Ariana, we're beginning to thaw out on the Oregon coast. At first, the sunshine confused me. I didn't recognize it. A rough winter, somewhat. Nonetheless, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. So that's great. Well, I'm happy that you're happy there, and so you've survived an Oregon coast winter. So well, that's good. Yeah, I did one winter, the winter of 2014. I did in Florence. I stayed at an RV park in Florence, and I'll never forget the rain. Like in the month of December, like it rained, and when it rained, it was like monsoon rain. It just poured, and then it would stop, and then it would pour again, and then it would stop, and like it was crazy. It was really intense, but it was really cool too as well. But yeah, I survived. Well, I'm glad to hear that you survived it, and that the sun is coming back out. So April is seems to kind of be where the weather transitions into sunnier weather. Down here in SoCal, tiny homes are not in my backyard. I don't know if I understand your comment. They're not, tiny homes are not in my backyard. Okay, so like they're not like allowed or what have you. Maybe if that's what you're saying. You take Sasquatch preparedness training, then you're ready for the bears, right? I think I'd be more concerned about a bear than a Sasquatch, but I don't know. A Sasquatch might be actually meeting my primal, I don't know, my primal, what would you call it, descendant, descendant maybe? Tommy is a Bigfoot believer. You two will have to discuss it. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that about Tommy. Yeah, that's cool. Um, I'm definitely open. I mean, I've watched a couple like documentaries on YouTube of some really fascinating footage that I am assuming is like real. I forget the name of the film, but it was shot, I think in Canada, I think in British Columbia, and yeah, it was fascinating. It was definitely fascinating to witness and see some of the just the things that had happened, that had changed some of the things in the trees, and like I don't see how a human could have done some of the destruction or modifications to some of the trees and everything. So I forget the name of the documentary, but I'm assuming that it was like it really happened. It wasn't just all mocked up, But yeah, I don't know. But it would be interesting to discuss it. So that'd be cool. That park on the river. Yep, that park on the river. The Sayusla um, Marina and RV park. Yeah, when I first stayed there, it was a flat rate of $400 a month. That was full hookups, electricity included, which was, I thought, a pretty good price for, all included. Now it's not $400 anymore for the winter months. In the summer months, it's like $700 a month, the price or whatever. But anyways, prices are prices. Hey, that's nothing, right? You got $1 million, that's nothing. What are you reading currently? That's a good question. Well, still got my two books I'm going through, but I've got some weird books I'm still working on, a couple books, but I've been reading one book recently that's really like really radically changed some of my thinking about some things. And the name of that book is called How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World by Harry Brown. And if you haven't read that book, you can't really buy. It was first published in 1973, but it's had some revisions done to it. And you can buy a digital version on Amazon Kindle, and that's what I bought. Um, paperbacks, their paperback is pretty much out of print. Hard copy's out of print, so digital is your only choice. You can probably go, but go Kindle. It's like $7.99. But that book is, and I'm not finished through the book yet, but it's been one of the most profound books I've ever read. Like, you know, especially if the study of freedom and what freedom really is, and just you think, like how I found freedom in an unfree world. I mean, how, and it's highly recommend reading. Highly recommended reading. I'll probably do a video here on it soon when I finish reading through the book. Have you encountered locked gates or fallen trees on forest roads? Um, yeah, I mean sometimes you'll come across locked gates. Sometimes you can open them, like they're open, they're not locked. Down trees and not too bad. I mean the Forest Service generally does a pretty good job unless there's a storm. Um, Man, I had one night. I don't know if I think I told this story. Yeah, I did tell this story a few years ago. I was in Brookings, outside of Brookings, Oregon, and I thought I had a great idea. I would go up into the national forest and spend the night. Well, there was a really bad storm that was brewing. Well, yeah, it was brewing. Like when I entered the national forest. So I'm sitting up here. It's like dark, and the wind's blowing, and I'm sitting here underneath these huge trees. Right, branches could be breaking, and I'm like, I got to get the hell out of here, and ended up driving back into town into Brookings, and I'm not kidding you guys. The wind was like, it was like 50-mile-an-hour winds. It was insane. Like, the last place I should have been was, probably there. But anyways, yeah, that's a little bit of a tangent off story, but kind of, yeah, I've been like in crazy weather storms and stuff, and like out in the national forest. That's not a good place to be in an RV or a camper or whatever, where you could get crushed by a tree. Yeah, not a good situation to be in. But fallen trees. Get yourself a. What I was going to do, I haven't bought one yet, but you can buy these. Oh geez, there's a company. They're made in Japan. They're like long, like pole saws, hand saws. They're sickly, or oh gosh, I forget the name of it, but big saws, and they can saw through trees. Like no gas needed, no generators needed, and they'll cut through like a huge log in like not very much time. They're super sharp teeth, and they're made in Japan. You can buy them on eBay, but I would get yourself one of those hand saws. And I forget the name of the company. They're like the top known saws in the world, like hand saws, and they make for arborists and tree cutters, hand pruning, landscaping. Yeah, I forget the name, but you'll look them up if they're made in Japan. Yeah, I checked that place out when I was here in August. Yep. Yeah, it's not a bad campground. It's actually a pretty cool campground because they have dry camping where yeah, they have dry camping. Like you can go there and not have to plug in. You can just pay for like dry camping. They've got spots like right on the river, the Siuslaw River, that you'll pay a little bit more for those. They've got full hookups. You can just do like electric and no sewer hookup because they have a dump station at the park. So yeah, they give you kind of a wide range of options. You know, like you don't have to just, you know, well, this is what it is. No, they give you a lot of different options that you can choose, which is pretty cool. There you go. Sickly saw. That's the one. Yeah. Get yourself one of those. That's the best survivalist saw to have, hands down. And I should have one. They're about $180, or they're not cheap, but like that's what you want to have. You know, those things are they're just wicked cool because they'll cut through. I've seen these guys on YouTube that use them, that make videos with them, and like it's crazy, man, how much wood that these saws will saw through with not like a tremendous amount of effort. Sorry, sorry about that, guys. My battery life on my tablet is like kind of crapping out, so I just plugged it in here. Just reading a few of your more of your comments. Let me get my little table over here so we don't have to deal with shaky video. Nobody wants to see shaky video. There we go. Well, sorry about the lighting. Go through, watch a few, read a few more, yep, blip, 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 a few more of your comments. Forgive me for being out of the loop, but are you still traveling around in your fifth wheel and living out of it? Yes. Still living in the fifth wheel. Been down here in Arizona here for the winter since late November. I watched a YouTube vid showing a tiny home community in Palm Springs. I wish it was a widespread concept. Yeah, I agree. I wish it was a little bit more accepted and kind of in it a little bit more accepted, and that definitely I agree. I always think of you truck stop guys as serial killers. I need a left foot for my collection. I'm always too shy to ask if anyone knows how to get one. Oh, dude, that's the you get the comment of the night. That one was great. Yeah, funny stuff. Funny. A silky saw. Yep, a silky saw. Did that casino close in Florence? No, they're still open. Not running very profitably, but they're nickeling and diming everybody to death, is my understanding. Yeah, it's still in operation, in operation up there, and they've pretty much changed the whole RVing parking situation. You have to check in and register, and I think you can stay up to maybe at least a couple of nights, but you got to get a player's card and all that. So, but you can still camp there. I stayed at a nice Indian casino in Lincoln for a week. Oh, at Lincoln City. Yeah, the casino in Lincoln City. Yeah, I forget the name of that casino. I always forget the name of that casino up there. Do you feel lonely when traveling, or something you get used to, or don't feel lonely? No, I don't feel lonely. No. I I have some nights where I'm like, what the hell am I doing out here? That's kind of probably more of a just, you know, questioning my questioning my questioning questioning, questioning my activities, I guess, or questioning my my lifestyle, maybe. I don't know. It's all good, right? Um, if I was if I was sitting in an apartment somewhere, I'd probably be asking myself the question, what the hell am I doing here? Why am I, how do I get out of here, right? so so yeah, when you just because you live in an RV doesn't mean that you don't question yourself sometimes, you know, question what's going on, and but those are all good things. But no, do I get lonely? No, no, I don't get lonely. I mean, I do enjoy being in the company, but I also enjoy being alone too. I enjoy that the solitude to where I can get into a place and a space where I can do some thinking and some meditating and get to the good stuff going on up here. So I stayed there for 4 days in Florence. They want you to gamble at least $20 every night. Yeah. Yep. That sounds about right. When I first moved to Florence, well, even before I moved to Florence, like that casino up there was a great place. I mean, the parking lot, you could stay at that casino for as long as you wanted. Nobody bothered you. You never had to check in. And they also used to have they had a small little cafe that you could sit down and eat and have breakfast. Not a buffet, but a small cafe. And they did away with that, and so which that was kind of a bummer because I used to go there and spend the night, stay there, and I would go and eat at the cafe, because I have no problems with going in and reciprocating, with the casinos because a lot of them are very generous with them allowing you to park and spend the night on their land. So I've always believed that you should be reciprocal, about that. But yeah, they've just really squeezed the operation up there in Florence. Squeezing meaning, I mean, they're not making much money, so they got to squeeze as much as they can out of it. But that place up there, that used to be a really good place. I mean, Florence used to be actually a good place to just park for the night. But the city has passed an ordinance banning the sleeping of anyone in any vehicles. They've banned it. They've put actually an ordinance. So there is no sleeping in any vehicles. It's a fine. They can fine you or, I don't know, prosecute you or whatever they do. So it's become a very RV unfriendly area, which it's really sad because people go to the coast to recreate, to enjoy themselves, to, have fun. And they've decided that there isn't going to be any fun. You're going to pay for it. So, hey, and the funny thing, everybody comes to the coast. I mean, they are spending money, but it's just this whole, anyways, I don't make the rules. I only just navigate around them, I guess. But that's my story. I'm sticking to it. A lot of homeowners want a tiny home community in their backyard. Reason being, it drags down their property values. Yeah, yeah. There's definitely that side of it for sure. Um, there's definitely that side of it that property owners, they don't they want their properties to appreciate in value, not depreciate. So, and I understand their argument. I just think that there should be some space allowed, for people to do that. But I know that, yes, that's in a perfect world, but the reality is that um, I should say that the greater fear is that if these type of communities take on a lot of traction, meaning demand, um, the government's going to realize they've got a real problem on their hands, and they're not going to know how to, you know, once the people, they got to control the people. So, yeah, I don't know. You guys know where I'm going with it, but that's just one theory I think that is, is always a great concern. But there's many others to be considered, other concerns to be considered. I mean, I think in Bend, Oregon, outside of Bend, there's a community. It might be like someone's private land that they've leased out lots, but I'm sure there's probably a sewer connection on each lot. But there are communities. There is one outside of Bend, Oregon. I know that, and there could be maybe a couple of others. Maybe Montana, maybe. Living alone and rent free is heaven. Sure, whatever makes you happy. American Supertramp, what's happening? We got, I missed, we got up north to 60. What's going on? How are you, man? Doing good, doing good. Good to see you. What happened there? What happened with your gal was sent back on the road? What happened with the gal you were at? A gal you sent back on the road? We split up. Yeah, we split up, and she's doing her thing, and I'm doing my thing. But we're still really good friends, and all is good between us. We've just decided it's best to, just split up at this juncture. I like going to campsites and hanging out with the campers. I lurk just outside the night. I wish this lighting was not so crappy. The reason it is this way right now is I've got my phone charged. It's charging right now, so that's the reason why the lighting is the way it is right now. I like going to campsites and hanging out with campers. I lurk just outside of their campfire, and it almost feels like I'm a part of the group. You should try it. You should try it if you get lonely. Oh yeah, I go out and visit, and and be social. I'm not like a huge, like social, butterfly or whatever. But just because I'm usually working on stuff or whatever. But like working on whatever, reading, writing, making my plans. I don't know, just I've always got some stuff I'm working on. But anyways, yeah, I agree, dude. Yeah, go out and meet people. That's one of the reasons why, like, I think this is such a healthy way. A good healthy way to live is to get you out, doing more things and being active and meeting people and making relationships and, not sitting in your house or your apartment and like never talking to your neighbors, right? I mean, like, yeah, So anyways, I get what you're saying, man. The awkward when they catch you, though. I've seen people sleeping in their cars at the Fred Meyer there. Yeah, and I don't know. This ordinance was passed this last October or November. So I don't know what the situation is like there now, but I know that a lot of the homeless people have left, the area because I guess that was one of the reasons that really started that whole ordinance was they just had a real problem with some homeless people that were, causing some problems. And so that was one of the methods that they used to, I guess, mediate that issue, is my understanding. I love my my solitude and freedom, never lonely really, living in campgrounds. There's never-ending supply of people coming and going, mostly really nice people, no lack of company to visit with. Yep, absolutely. Palm Spring tiny home community built them a permanent with decks and gardens. They're gorgeous and expensive. Oh, that's cool. Lori, I've enjoyed your chat. Going to sign off now. Hey, Lori, thanks for signing on and talking with us here tonight. Appreciate it. Hope to see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Okay, you too. All right, I'll let you know if I'm coming up there. Okay, I'll send you a text message. I'll text Tommy. Bobby's a good woman. You're damn right. She's a good woman. She's a really good woman. One of the best women I've ever met and been with, and honest to the letter, loyal, and you know everything that you would want um, in a woman. So, but yes, but we've just decided to split. So, at this point, the video looks pretty low resolution. Yes, it's really sucky resolution. It's just because of the lighting and everything, and right now, Jeff. But yeah, I think it has something to do with the lighting. I've got good internet, but probably going to sign off here pretty soon. I think I'll get a few more. Found some nice boondocking south of Port Orford at the DOT maintenance areas. I stayed there from the beach for 4 or 5 days. Yeah, yep, I know exactly where you're talking about, Mac. There are some really good spots to camp down there, and you won't be bothered by really anybody on the southern coast. Like, it's pretty chillax down there. And even there's a lot of areas between Newport and Florence too that are great for boondocking. I mean, you can go out into the national forest, the Siuslaw National Forest, and there's actually some pretty nice spots just right off of the dirt roads that you can camp and boondock at. And I don't know why I haven't taken any videos of those areas yet, but yeah, there's definitely there's actually a lot of places. And then if you go down south to Brookings, you can go into the Siskiyou National Forest, and there's roads there's spur roads that go off. But yeah, there's some good places just right off of 101 that you can camp on for free. The highway patrol isn't really going to give you a hard time. And I think in Oregon you can sleep in rest areas for legally for X amount of hours, I think. So let's see here. The boondocking thing. Ask the managers and don't set up a permanent camp is the golden rule said over and over. Yeah, that's right. Don't set up a permanent camp and don't take a shower in Walmart parking lot. Yep, don't do that. We've all seen that done before. Never had a problem. Beautiful area. All right, good night, Ariana. Thanks for tuning in. I'm glad to hear you're doing great. Well, guys, I think gonna wrap it up here. It's been good chatting with you guys. Good to hear from you all, and hope you're all doing great. Whoever you are, wherever you are. This is it's gonna be Dalton. Gonna be signing off here tonight, and we will check in with you guys again, and we'll chat another time. Good night, everybody.